I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think if I remember. Sometimes I remember. I forget, I'm sorry. Okay. For the record, this is a public meeting of the Bayonne Board of Education. It is 7:38. The 27th day of September. We're meeting in the Ava J. Meeting Room. Presiding officer is Joseph Broderick, President of the Bayonne Board of Education. Those in attendance include Dr. Michael A. Wanko, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Kenneth Kopaz, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, Dr. Gary Maida, Board Secretary, Mr. Tom Fagoo, Acting Assistant Superintendent for Business, Dr. Dennis Degnan, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and I'm sorry, Mitchie Pasquale is not here, but joining us is our Board Counsel, Joseph Santinasto, and I have a card for you. The meeting's open to the public. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Alonso. Present. Trustee Cruden. Here. Trustee Finnerty. Here. Trustee Lawande. Here. Trustee Munoz. Here. Trustee Ryan. Here. Trustee Volato. Here. Vice President Wilbeck. Here. President Broderick. Here.
For the record, adequate written advance notice of at least 48 hours, given the time, date, and location of this meeting with the agenda was provided as follows. Notice was prominently posted in City Hall at 630 Avenue C on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements of the Board of Education. The Board Secretary sent such notice to the Jersey Journal and the Bayonne Community News. Notice was filed with the Municipal Clerk of the City of Bayonne, Mr. Robert F. Sloan.
At this time, I'd like to start with our approval of minutes and communication. We received, you'll see, 3 letters, 2 resignations, and a letter from Mr. D'Angelo, President of the BTA. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
On that motion by Trustee Volato and a second by Trustee Munoz.
Flip-flop.
Oh, I'm sorry. A motion by Trustee Munoz and a second by Trustee Volato. On that motion and second, Trustee Alonso.
Aye.
Trustee Cruden.
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty.
Yes.
Trustee Lawande.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Volato.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
Next up, we have a commendation tonight. Whereas head coach Patricia Longo has brought honor and distinction to the Bayonne High School and the community by attaining her 500th win as head coach of Bayonne High School girls volleyball team. Whereas head coach Patricia Longo obtained this win on September 14th, 2018 against Memorial High School, West New York, New Jersey. Whereas head coach Patricia Longo has brought honor and distinction to the Bayonne High School and community during her illustrious tenure as head coach of the Bayonne High School's girl volleyball team for the past 34 years. Whereas head coach Patricia Longo has guided the Bayonne High School girls volleyball team this fall 2018 season with her all-around commitment to hard work, dedication, and determination. Be it resolved that this Board of Education wishes its heartfelt congratulations to the head girls volleyball coach, Patricia Longo, by the Committee of the Whole.
Come up there, come up.
Congratulations.
Called longevity.
Congratulations, Pat.
How long did you be back here for the boys? What? I'm going to be back here for the boys, I'm telling you.
You better be.
My cousins have a family. I have over 500 in the whole family. Sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thomas's wife. Yeah. Here?
No, the big one, the big one.
The big chair?
That's a clean chair.
This is what it feels like, huh?
This seat's hot.
It is a hot seat. You can answer the questions, too.
Wait a minute, let me get this out of the way.
Then get this self.
What about
Dennis, throwing pens at me.
Dennis?
Who you need? Which way? Mr. President? How much more metal can I get?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You had that back. I was
Great job,
Did you pick it up? You want the microphone too? Oh, you want the microphone before the board?
How many wins do you rate, boys?
6.
I'd like to make a quick statement regarding this. Not only did Coach Longo have 500 wins with the girls, he's probably coming back pretty soon with 500 wins for the boys.
Yeah.
But her teams always represent us well on the court and equally well off the court. So it's a real tribute to, Coach Longo. We say to it, we talk, we tease about this all the time. When you started a team, and you might have a good year or a bad year, and you go through the motions, and a lot of teams do that. But what's happened here is she's gone past the team effort, and now it's called a program, because every year excellence is going to come out of something because it's just that well developed. So congratulations, kids.
If I might add, I have to tell ladies and gentlemen, 20-some years ago, Miss Longo introduced me to volleyball. And I went on to go from a recreational volleyball official to doing high school, to doing community college, to doing USA volleyball and doing colleges. And I traveled from Orlando, Florida to Boston, Massachusetts, officiating volleyball and averaging about 150 tournaments per year. So it's a great thanks to Miss Longo, because she is definitely a champion amongst champions.
Mrs. Welbeck wants to thank you also.
We'll continue with our consent agenda. We'll start with A, curriculum and instruction. I'd like to make one notation. Resolution A10 is being tabled. A10, it is a staff to attend workshop, is being tabled. So we have our consent agenda, resolutions A1 through A27. They're all on our front bulletin board, minus resolution A10. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion from trustee Cruden and a second from trustee Villado on that motion and second. Trustee Cruden.
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty.
Yes.
Trustee Lawanda.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Villado.
Yes.
Trustee Alonso.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
Moving along, we'll go to our Finance, Building and Grounds, our Section B resolutions. That'll be Resolution B1 to B15. B1 to B15. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion from trustee Alonso and a second from President Broderick. Next up, trustee Finnerty.
Yes.
Trustee Lawanda.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes to everything except B5.
B5. So So I'm going to remove B5, and I'm going to move it to the non-consent portion of the meeting. So, if I could just repeat myself, we'll do all the consent items on B minus Resolution B5, which will be moved to non-consent. I have a motion and a second. So Trustee Munoz, now that it's removed, that would be a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Trustee Alonso?
Yes.
Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us
We should have left it on.
to our resolutions for the personnel group. That is Resolution C1,
I'll move.
not yet,
Not
C1 to C27. Resolution C2 and C3 are being moved to non-consent.
One more time?
Our personnel resolutions are C1 to C27. Resolution C2 and C3 are being moved to non-consent.
Thank you.
And I have a motion
I motion.
and a second.
I'll second.
So I have a motion by Trustee Ryan and a second by Trustee Wilbeck. But before I take a vote, we have a question from the audience on Resolution C17. Melissa Godsky, 178 Avenue F. You'd still like to ask your question? Okay. And if we could just turn to Resolution C17, that's the resolution in question.
Melissa Gadowski, 178 Avenue. So again, thank you for looking outside and contracting these companies for these services, so I'm grateful for that. It states it's as an as-needed basis. Can somebody define as needed? What qualifies those professionals to receive that training from that program?
We would be able to work with this company. They just came to Bayonne. Great that we have them here. Whether they are giving services to a child at their house or using a BCBA, it would be at the needs of a child's IEP, or if we need some staff development. But anytime that we would get into an agreement for any types of those services, we would have to still memorialize that with another resolution after. This is just a resolution stating that we will be working with this company through the year.
And then my second part to the question is, how will we pass, I know we talked, like I'm referring to the as-needed basis, how will we roll that training down? Will there be a way to roll it down to other paraprofessionals and other teachers to receive that benefit?
Yes, absolutely. Again, it mostly depends on the needs of the child's IEP. But if you have any suggestions, I know you talked to Mr. Medici today, please shoot over an email, and we'll take a look at that.
I appreciate your time, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second on the personnel portion. Mr. D'Angelo, you go to the microphone.
On C23, about the personnel with the carrying firearms. I know Dr. Wanko has been to several of those schools. And am I correct in saying that all the staff know who these people are in the school?
Not correct.
Pardon me?
You are not correct.
I'm not correct.
You will not know who's counting.
The teachers won't either.
No.
I think you should re-examine that, because if someone were to pull a gun and you didn't know if he was the security or somebody entering the school.
Perhaps you haven't noticed they are in uniform and it says security on it,
Well, then the teachers would know, that's what I'm saying.
but you don't know which security guard is carrying, is the point. We're following the model that's used in Israel. There has never been a school shooting in Israel. In each school, 2 people are carrying, no one knows who they are. We are deploying our security team. They are the ones that will be carrying. They will not let you know who has a weapon on them. That means a perpetrator would not know if that person had a weapon or not. So we have more coverage than less. Why would you need to know who is carrying?
For what I just said. If there was a problem in the school, do I know who's the good guys and the bad guys?
We are the good guys.
Well, can the teachers identify all these people that are carrying?
They are in, Mr. Carroll, would you show him your shirt, please?
We actually have patches on it also that do that.
We all, that's an excellent point Mr. Carey brings up. They will also have a patch on the arm as well to make it more visible for you.
You know what, I'm not comfortable with that answer, but let me look into it a little further. Anybody can come in with one of those shirts. I mean, I'm sure if somebody's coming in to do something bad, they would maybe try to get a shirt that looked like that. What I'm trying to say is, has the staff been educated to the point where they would recognize each and every one of the security guards, whether they have guns or not? That's all.
Mr. Carey has been bringing our security personnel to the schools, introducing them to the staff, making them aware of who they are. I'm sure you are familiar with everyone.
Well, if they're making them, if everybody is, all the staff is made aware of who they are, that's all I'm asking now, if that's the case.
That's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Ryan, a second by Vice President Wilbeck. On that motion and second, trustee Lawande?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Bellato?
Yes.
Trustee Alonso?
Yes.
Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move ahead to our non-consent portion. I'll start with Resolution D1, whereas the Bayonne Board of Education is desirous to provide parent workshops, be it resolved that the additional personnel listed below the highlighted names are being added to that position. This is Resolution D1 and is on our back bulletin board. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And do I have a second? So,
I'll
yes.
second.
So I have a motion from trustee Munoz and a second by trustee Bellato. On that motion and second, trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee
I forgot
Ryan?
we're doing the rotation.
Yes.
Trustee Bellato?
Yes.
Trustee Alonso?
I abstain.
Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Trustee Lawande?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Abstain.
And President Broderick.
Yes.
Next up is a Resolution D2. I'll read it. Whereas Hispanic Heritage Month celebrates the cultures and traditions of those who can trace their roots to Spain, Mexico, and Spanish-speaking countries of Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Whereas during National Hispanic Heritage Month, we recognize the valuable contributions and the important presence of Hispanic and Latino Americans in the United States, celebrate their heritage and culture. Whereas Hispanics have a profound and positive influence on our country through their strong commitment to family, faith, hard work, and service. Whereas they have enhanced and shaped our national character with centuries-old traditions that reflect the multi-ethnic and multicultural customs of their communities. Be it resolved that the Bayonne Board of Education and the Superintendent, Dr. Michael A. Wonka, hereby declare that the month of September 15th to October 15th, 2008, to be Hispanic Heritage Month in Bayonne schools. Do I have a motion?
I move.
Motion by trustee Alonso and a second.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Lawande.
Lawande.
Yes, so I have a motion by trustee Alonso, a second by trustee Lawande. On that motion and second, trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Bellato,
Just like to say a few words on this motion, on this resolution. I'm very happy for it. I am of Hispanic descent, but I also like to commend the Bayonne Public School District for always acknowledging Hispanic Heritage Month without a resolution from the board. Every school, before this resolution was signed, has submitted what they are doing per grade level to celebrate the Hispanic culture. So we are memorializing this with a resolution, but I will like to acknowledge that Bayonne Public Schools already does celebrate the Hispanic culture, and I vote yes.
Trustee Alonso.
I'm very proud to have the support of my fellow trustees for this resolution, and I do agree with Maria that we have been doing stuff for a long time, and I am very thankful, also being Hispanic, that we are finally memorializing this with a resolution, so I vote yes.
Trustee Cruden.
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty.
Yes.
Trustee Lalonde.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
And President Broderick.
Yes.
Next up, I'd like to address the resolutions that were moved. So I'll start with C2. And C2 is the Bayonne Board of Education adopts and promotes the community education concept. So this is Resolution C2. It is on our bulletin board. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion from Trustee Lalonde, and I have a second from Vice President Wilbeck on that motion and second. Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Trustee Alonso?
Yes.
Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Trustee Lalonde?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
I abstain.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Next up is, I'm sorry? Yeah, we did. Next up is C3. And it is 3 members going to the home instruction staff for 2018-19. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
And a second?
Yes.
So I have a motion from Trustee Lalonde, a second by Vice President Wilbeck. Back to Trustee Alonso.
Yes.
Trustee Cruden.
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty.
Yes.
Trustee Lalonde.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
I abstain.
Trustee Villado.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
And we also moved B5 to non-consent. B5 is the Bayonne Board of Education requires the services of an HVAC company. The current provider, Inline Air Condition, has been awarded a contract by the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey, formerly Middlesex Regional Education Service Co-op, to provide such services to members of the district of that co-op. The Bayonne Board of Education is a member of that co-op. So that's Resolution B5 on our bulletin board. Do I have a motion? Trustee?
I'll move.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second
And a
that.
second by President Broderick. So I have a motion by Trustee Alonso, a second by President Broderick on Resolution B5. We will now vote. Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty?
Before I vote, I'd like to preface by saying that this really is a vote yes because we are part of the cooperative. And to be part of the cooperative, we have to cooperate with who are members of the cooperative. So I'm not necessarily happy with the company that we are contracting, but because we're part of the cooperative, I must say yes.
Trustee Lalonde?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
No.
Trustee Ryan?
I echo Trustee Finnerty's comments and concerns, but I will vote yes.
Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Trustee Alonso?
We've had a lot of problems with this company, I think, in recent work, and we definitely should find someone else, so I'm going to vote no.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
even though there's problem, it doesn't mean we have to use it. It just gives us permission to use this company. So at this moment, I'll say yes.
Can I say something, President Broderick? I just want to apologize to my fellow trustees on the board. It was on the consent resolution, and I had a change of heart walking outside, and I did kind of put that on you last minute, and I caught you off guard, so I do apologize for that. I did not know we would have to vote again. I just figured I could say yes to the resolution, accept B5, and Dr. Meda could count it as that, so I am sorry that I had to put this up for an individual vote.
Sometimes
without warning you ahead of time, I do apologize. I'm not sorry for the no vote. I'm sorry for not warning you. I apologize.
Some of the people aren't aware of how long the walk is from the prophet to here, and how many changes of heart happen.
I'm capable of working on the move. That's okay, trustee. You don't worry about that. We do have a couple of speakers that asked for cards, and I'm going to introduce...
Dr. Maida, you going to read the letter from Mr. Waller about the scholarship? Please read that.
A couple $1 million.
I will...
You need to read that.
Thank you, trustee.
Before I get to questions, I'd like to... Yeah, I'm going to let him go as soon as I read this. I'd like to bring your attention on your agenda to Resolution A1. We were contacted a little over 2 years ago. A gentleman that had graduated from Bayonne High School had passed away. He lived in Rahway, and he left us in his will. And I'd like to read this. Whereas Mr. William DeWar, World War II Army veteran and IBEW member, in his testamentary bequested a fiduciary donation in the amount of $2 million with the intentions of the development of the William DeWar Perpetual Scholarship Fund to be established within the Bayonne Board of Education. Whereas Mr. William DeWar passed away on October 16th, 2016, a graduate of the U.S. Military Academy with a 32-year career as an Army officer with administration responsibilities, including being the Director of Civil Works for the Army Corps of Engineers. Whereupon discharge, Mr. Kawar held numerous high-level positions while holding an MBA from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, as well as post-grad certificates from other distinguished institutions. Whereas Mr. Kawar was the recipient of many prestigious awards, including but not limited to the 1996 recipient of the American Society of Civil Engineers, Civil Management Award for Management Excellence, and the 1995 Presidential Hammer Award winner for delivery better and more efficient government service. Whereas Mr. Kawar's legacy gift in the amount of $2 million will be managed by his estate to design and implement scholarship programs for the benefit and funding of STEM programs. Whereas Mr. Kawar envisions scholarships in the engineering sector with broadened views of the areas of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Be it hereby resolved that the Chief Administrator or lead person of the Bayonne School District will graciously accept the donation for STEM-related scholarships set forth by the individual estate of Mr. William DeWar. And I will now turn to some of our questions. And first, he's the first card. First, I'd like to introduce Mr. Arsh Banerjee, our Board of Education representative from Bayonne High School.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Wonko, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Kopaz, Mr. Fogu, and Dr. Degman. I'd like to begin by first introducing myself. My name is Arsh Banerjee, and I'm serving as the Board of Ed representative for the student government during the 2018-2019 school year. Through this role, I hope to continuously inform the board about the many events being hosted by the student government. Over the next month, the student government has numerous activities and events planned for an exciting start for the school year. This Friday, on September the 28th, we are hosting the annual homecoming dance based on a Hollywood theme. At the homecoming dance, we will be crowning the homecoming king and queen of the class of 2019. We're hoping this will be an amazing experience for Bayonne High School students. After homecoming within the first week of October, the student government has organized a Spirit Week through which students can express their school spirit. Each day of the week will have a different event, allowing students with the opportunity to express themselves. On the last day of Spirit Week, which is October 5th, a fall pep rally will be hosted by the student government to celebrate the achievements of the fall sports teams. During the pep rally, we hope to have the Bayonne Steppers as well as the cheerleaders perform in front of the sports teams. We're hoping the pep rally will provide the fall athletes with an exciting culmination to their sports seasons and allow students to show their support for our high school's athletes. On the same day, we will also be participating in the homecoming parade, where we will march from City Hall at 6 o'clock down to Veterans Stadium. With this parade, we hope to honor the seniors who have participated in student government, while also honoring the homecoming king and queen who will be marching with us. At Veterans Stadium, the homecoming game against Kearney will take place at 6:30, and we would like to extend an invitation to the board, and we would be honored if you could take part in our homecoming parade. Within the next month, we have plenty of student events planned to provide an exciting and engaging experience for the student body. We plan to continue this momentum and have a successful school year. Thank you for your continued support of this student government and your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Mr. Charles Nunzial with a question on AP testing.
My question very simply is, has there been a final decision whether or not the Board of Education is going to cover the cost of the AP testing, which takes place in May?
I know we are working with Mrs. Renee. We'll have an answer for you. Part of what we were discussing, however, was that it would be payment if the students had a specific grade, that they would be able to not have to pay. However, if they didn't take it seriously, that there would be possible that they would have to pay. But we are still in discussions with Renee Bush, and we will bring that to the curriculum committee.
But when you say grade, is that anything specific?
We would have to bring it to the curriculum committee of the Board of Education.
Okay, now the past policy is that the student is in an AP course, they must take the test. That is no longer the case?
That's the case right now, but we are looking into that because there are some students that maybe took advantage, took the course, didn't take it seriously, and then the board was paying for students that were getting low grades and not taking the test seriously. So we're working with our testing department and the Board of Education Curriculum Committee. Thank you.
Okay. Next up is Mr. Anthony D'Amico, 73 West 6th Street. It's an open question.
Real quick, going back to the inline contract, since we're forced into this.
Just pull the mic, thank you.
Real quick, since we're forced into this co-op, what's the contract value on it?
It looks like
It's at B5?
Not to exceed.
It's B5.
I'm pretty sure, Mr. Brewer is checking out, but I'm pretty sure it's not to exceed 500.
I could read the final paragraph. It is further resolved that inline air conditioning shall provide said services at a specified hourly rate under the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey, not to exceed $500,000 annually, BBOE fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019.
Now, is that 500,000 just from Bayonne, or is it from the entire co-op?
These are cooperative contracts that are awarded on a time and materials basis, so when we call them out, they bill us by the hour and markup on parts over cost.
What's the markup on parts?
15% over cost.
All right, normal standard in construction is 10%. That 500,000 for the entire co-op, so if somebody breaks their whole unit and they're out there for a significant amount of time eating away at that number, we don't have an equal share on that, do we?
No, the 500 isn't the whole co-op. The 500,000
Well, that's what I
is
asked,
the
and
Bayonne.
it's for the whole co-op,
So the
so.
regional cooperatives act, it's very similar to New Jersey state contracts, except they're generally a little better. So they award HVAC and other trade contracts throughout the state. Inline happens to be located very close to the district. There is a lot of concern about, HVAC issues. It's, as you know, being in the construction industry, it's one of the hardest things to manage. They help us with maintenance. We don't have, it's one of the few trades we don't have on staff. I think we have half a person right now. I mean, his duties are split half between HVAC maintenance, so they help us to maintain the equipment, because if proper maintenance doesn't happen, then we have more, outages and issues, so.
How many companies were in the bid process, and what was the bid process for this?
It's bid throughout the state. There are other contractors within the state, and we are hoping to, use other contractors. We could bring in other contractors. It's facilities, issue with the superintendent of buildings and grounds and the finance committee, so it certainly can be discussed further. It's not...
Is there a penalty if we go with another vendor, since it's agreed upon in the co-op to use inline?
No, there's no penalty. All the contracts that we enter into, we're not obligated to use them either. It really dovetails into the state purchasing law. Any $40,000 is the threshold, so once we use $40,000 with a vendor, we've gone over that threshold, and we're required to enter into a contract with the state contractor or bid it out individually.
Okay. The last thing I got is there any ethical rules with campaigning at an actual school function?
We'll turn that over to you, Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
Just please use the mic.
the ethics rules would apply in that in all campaigning situations, and also the school ethics rules would apply. If there's a specific inquiry, that could be referred to my office, and we could prepare a memo and present to the board to respond to like a more narrowly tailored inquiry.
So then everybody on the board knows that you really don't do it at a school function, or?
I can't hear a word you say.
I don't understand.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Basically, at Henry Harris Back to School Night, every single person was handed out a flyer from candidates, and I'm wondering, ethically wise.
Were they handed out in the school?
They were handed out literally about 4 feet off of the bottom step at Henry Harris, which, as a homeowner, the sidewalk's my property, so I would assume the sidewalk right in front of Henry Harris would be technically school grounds.
Perhaps I could, Mr. D'Amico, my understanding is that one has to stay 100 feet from the entrance. So I don't know how far the entrance to Henry Harris.
It's less than 100 feet.
Well, then perhaps they were in violation to some degree, but you want to measure it? I don't know. I know you have to stay within 100 feet of a
The
public
entrance of
structure.
the building or the entrance of the property for the school?
The entrance of the building.
Okay. So you guys might want to talk to your campaign guys, because you guys were within 100 feet.
Not I.
Thank you, Mr.
The card that I
D'Amico.
got.
Next up is Janice Ojeda, 1025 Broadway, has a question on school lunches.
Good evening to all. My concern
Closer
is
to the mic, please.
I have 3 children that attend Bayonne Public School. The lunches are horrible. They give them past due milk, the dates on the milk. The lunch meats are brown. I have pictures. Speaking for my little one, that special need that goes to Lincoln, nonverbal, he doesn't feed himself. Thinking of him, that, they feed him the food and he's nonverbal, he can't say yes, no, it worries me. And I don't understand how some of the schools, they get a bronze medal and the lunches be looking like this, Like I said, the lunch meats are brown, the bread be all soggy. I don't know how to say it without contradicting myself. I'm not talking about give our kids steak. You know, the food is fine. I think it's the way it's being prepared. I don't know what's going on, you know, and a lot of people, pack your kids' lunches. A lot of parents could do that. A lot of us depend on those lunches. So I want to know, you know, what's going to be done with that. You understand? I mean, I think announcing yourself and giving them time to clean up, it's not doing anything. This is why when they announce themselves and they go and check, everything is fine. You understand? I think that they should get like these surprise visits and see what our kids are getting.
Actually, we were discussing, Trustee Munoz and myself have been discussing this for a little while. In fact, this coming month in early October, we intend to have, we're going to invite all the PTO presidents, invite to a meeting up here and have our food service and see what we can do to, you know, answer any questions and improve on it. If you'd like to leave your name with us, I'm sure we could also bring you on that day and you could give us your concerns and work with us in making the food service the best thing we could possibly make it.
I would love that because I've been for the past 3 weeks calling and there's no answer from nobody. I call Trenton, they tell me I have to call the head of Hudson County. I call her, and she tells me call the superintendent of Bayonne. I leave a message. Nobody's answering.
Have you ever spoken to your principal?
I have to jump in. You have not left a message for me. I return every call.
No, I did. I did, because when I called last week the head of Hudson County, they told me you have to take that up with the superintendent of Bayonne.
Which is the correct procedure.
And that's when I called your office and left a message, and nobody, that was last week.
The person you left the message with by any chance?
I didn't get her name, it was a
I
lady.
appreciate that, because as everyone who knows me, and I've been in education for 47 years, I always return my calls, I always return my emails.
Okay, maybe I should email you then. And that would
Janice,
be-
I'll take your information after the meeting and I'll pass it along to the superintendent.
I appreciate
I'll look
that.
for you when we finish.
Thank you.
I have one more card, Melissa Gotsky, 178 Avenue F. She asked a question on a resolution. This is the open portion of the meeting. Go ahead.
Melissa Gadesky Rodriguez, 178 Avenue F. It's not on my card, but I kind of want to support her in her issue that she has. I am a PTO mom on a PTO board. I do personally see it. I think that there's probably a few different things we can do, look at different companies we can use. It doesn't hurt to do that. I have seen lunches. My son is no longer receiving school lunch because of those reasons. He just doesn't understand why he can't eat the lunch with the rest of the kids, because he is also special needs. So I will help her in any way I can in supporting just the thought process around that. It just has to be a discussion. So first of all, I want to thank Mr. Kovacs for following up on my last month. I really do appreciate that. It meant a lot. Simple phone call, some discussion, just to get a better answer for the parents. It means a lot. Second thing I want to address is, I'm not sure who's aware, but February 28th is Rare Disease Day. I don't know if anybody's...
Sorry, I did not hear that first.
February 28th is Rare Disease Day.
Oh, Rare Disease Day.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
My son has 3, and there's many other children in our district that have rare diseases that nobody's ever heard of. And as we talk about further educating our children and making them aware and spreading awareness around special needs and different disabilities, or different abilities as I will call it, I really would love for the board and administrators to think about doing this as a one-day thing once a year, where students can learn about a rare disease of the teacher's choice. It doesn't have to be something complicated, just something where we can educate children, since we are integrating, and I am for inclusivity. My son's in inclusion now, and children are learning from him too. He's not just learning from those children. I think it's important that we continue that and look beyond just 1 or 2 diagnoses that we currently focus on in the district. And then my second question is regarding field trips. It's been brought to my attention that field trips are kind of like a dying thing of the past, like significant decrease. And one of the trustees talked about engagement, and I think that's part of culture and engagement in schools. Has there been a decrease that you guys seen in field trips, and why is that?
We just did 4 this evening that were resolutions C9, C10, C11, and C12, which were all high school field trips. If the question is grammar school field trips.
To our knowledge, from the board's standpoint, we allow, we encourage field trips provided they have an educational value. That's the only thing we always seem to ask. So whether it's a decrease or increase, we could take a look at it, but...
What's the reservation by teachers
There's
not
been
pushing
no,
for field
what I'm
trips?
trying to say is there's nothing by us saying, no, let's cut field trips. To my knowledge, we have...
I think it's just something maybe we should influence or motivate our teachers to think about on how they can take education outside of the classroom, outside those 4 walls, and just create experiences for our children. It will go a long way. I remember going on a field trip at least once a year. My son hasn't had one in 4 years. And I think they were doing a disservice to the K through 8 children. So if we can just consider how we communicate that down to administrators in our buildings and to our teachers and get them thinking outside the box. And I'm sure every single one of them will be like, absolutely, they will love to get out of that classroom.
Once again, I would probably go to my school's principal first, and maybe he has an answer, or why they're not, or why they, and then if you don't like their answer, then come up to central office and...
Definitely not targeting my school at all. It's really just on behalf of, I have other family members in other schools, and they've kind of just said, why doesn't my kid go on field trip? Simple thing, just to think about. So I appreciate it.
Melissa, even with the PTA, if you recommend it with the meetings, I'm sure they'll address it.
Yes, we typically do. Again, just speaking as a whole, we only had 4 on that resolution. We have 12 public schools, but we only had 4. 4, am I correct?
It's a little early in the year, though.
It's September, but we should be thinking about that planning for the school year. So, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President, that's all the cards I have for this evening.
Okay, Mr. Trustee Munoz, you'd have one thing to say?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the comment on C23, talking about the security team. It was lost in translation. We were talking about patches and who's doing this and who's doing that. I mean, when I voted yes, I wanted to say, and I completely lost, I want to thank Mr. Carey and the whole security team for accepting this awesome responsibility for protecting the staff and the children of Bayonne Public Schools. That is the awesome responsibility. And thank you guys for stepping up and doing it. I really appreciate it. I know that you guys have gone through the man hours and man hours of training and education to get ready for this moment. So I think I speak for everybody on this board when I say thank you for doing what you're about to do, and I know I'll sleep better knowing that my kids are being watched over by someone as big as you. All right? So thank you very much, Mr. Carey. I appreciate
it. Is there a
I'll motion that we adjourn.
motion by trustee Clute?
And I'll second,
A second by trustee Finnerty. So I have a motion and a second to adjourn the public meeting. On that motion and second, trustee Alonso. Trustee Clute. Trustee Finnerty. Trustee Lawande. Trustee Munoz. Trustee Ryan. Trustee Bellato. Vice President Rubeck. President Broderick. It is 8:25.